Okay, so post July 1st, Oklahoma has their best commit in the class of 2025. They're now in the SEC, and you feel like Oklahoma has momentum on the recruiting trail, especially with some upcoming commitments that could be swaying their way. Now, here's the deal. Right now, Oklahoma holds a narrow lead over Oregon for the number 5 overall class here in the 2025 cycle. I think by the end of the cycle, Oklahoma's has a top 5 class. And if you guys have watched this channel, you guys know what recruits I really favor Oklahoma to be able to go out there and land. But today we got to talk about some of these upcoming commitments and talk about this momentum that they have on the recruiting trail, because you're starting to see some 2026 bullets drop as well. And when you've got the Sooners under the stars coming up this month, and the party at the Palace, which are two separate dates for juniors and upcoming seniors, I think Oklahoma could shape up to have a fantastic July and maybe even a better August. Before we do that, though, I want to hear from y'all. So join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Give me your thoughts, your opinions on whether you think Oklahoma can land a top 5 class in 2025, or if you were down there for the party into the SEC or whatever they were calling it yesterday in Norman. Let me know what you guys' thoughts were. If you attended the Paul Feinbaum show or whatever you did. So Oklahoma, they got Cortez Mills, best recruit in their class, 4-star wide receiver out of Homestead, Florida. Don't really need to touch on this one a whole lot. The number 88th player in the 247 composite rankings. But there's been some predictions that have been submitted for a 4-star linebacker today that a lot of people are kind of like, well, let me phrase this. I don't think anybody's shocked by it, but I think some people forgot the name. And we were talking about this earlier in the Discord, but it's Christian Jones. Christian Jones out of Nebraska. Oklahoma and Christian Jones, listen, they were really tight, especially back when Ted Roof was there. When Zach Owley was hired on as the linebackers coach at Oklahoma, there was a little bit of a drop in that relationship, but there was a lot of drops in a lot of relationships with linebackers. And that would be as expected when you're bringing in a new coach at a position that he's going to go different directions, make other people a priority, or just shoot, even coming in and being able to establish that communication sometimes might take a while. And I think that happened for Christian Jones. Now, I did get a chance to follow up to Christian Jones post his official visit. And, I kind of asked him, I said, what stuck out compared to some of the other official visits that he's taken? And he said, the soul mission, which really gives him an edge, culture over mind, body, and spirit. And this is something that we hear a lot, especially with the soul mission, the way the staff just approaches being able to develop the recruits as a person over life. Those things matter not only to parents, but to the recruits as well. Christian Jones enjoyed his visit overall as a whole. So Oklahoma is the leader in that recruitment. And I don't expect Oklahoma to maybe not get that commitment. I think they're going to look at getting that other linebacker commit. And Christian Jones just fits perfect. And he would be another top tier prospect in your class. But I do want to take a look at some of the other potential commitments that we have coming up, because when you hear me say that I think we're going to land a top 5 class, you assume we're going to have to land some 5 stars and we're going to have to land some more guys to get in there. Well, on July 6th, we've got Amarian Robinson, the 4-star cornerback, where this was an Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Oregon race. It really feels like now it's an Oregon and Oklahoma race, with Oklahoma out front being the leader. I would expect on July 6th, Oklahoma is going to get that commitment, and you'll see both boys from the state of Arkansas, Marcus Wimberly and Amarian Robinson, tying up that safety position. So keep your eyes out on that one. I said it last week, but I would think by the end of this week that you have a commitment in place for the 4-star offensive lineman, Lamont Rogers. For that one, it's Oklahoma, Missouri with a Texas A&M, I think, as the third distant. But Oklahoma's in a really good spot there. Again, no surprise, or shouldn't be a surprise to you. Really good relationship with Sean Hutton, the current PWO commit out of Louisville, Texas, which we'll get to that one here in a second. Current commit there. And I think Oklahoma's probably going to get Lamont Rogers as well. Following up with that, though, 5-star offensive lineman Michael Fasusi. And the official visit went really well. Getting Sean Hutton here was potentially the key piece to, I think, becoming the leader and becoming a really solid leader in this recruitment over Texas for Michael Fasusi. Now, I still think Texas is going to throw. I was talking to a couple people about this yesterday while we were waiting in line at the equipment cell. I think Texas is going to throw the bag at Michael Fasusi. I don't see a world where they don't do that. Michael Fasusi is probably going to have to pick Oklahoma over the money. And I think Oklahoma is going to give him a really nice, solid NIL offer. I'm not going to say Oklahoma's not going to be competitive, but I think Texas is really going to try to win this one on that bag because this is the only top tier offensive lineman that they're going after. So he's going to have to do it. And if he's got Lamont Rogers and Sean Hutton already committed here, it's going to be hard for him to say no at that point. So Michael Fasusi, I've had him chalked in this class for a while, and that's one that I think Oklahoma fans could potentially see. I was told sometime in August. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that commitment. If you get him up here for the party at the Palace here at the end of the month, I think that's going to be huge for Oklahoma. Now, I do have a 5-star in 2026 that we have to talk about. But before we do that, I got to talk about Cade Petchak, the 6'4", 250-pound defensive lineman out of North Dakota. This one's intriguing to me. We're still kind of waiting for the commitment, but Oklahoma is in a really good spot there. So I would say in the next 2 weeks, probably going to see a decision for Cade Petchak. But this is kind of one where it's hard to really gauge where he's at because he doesn't talk to a whole lot of people. Now, additionally, in the 2025 cycle, I could see Oklahoma trying to go after another defensive lineman. One that I'm looking at engaging interest in is Malik Autry. Malik Autry, if you remember, we talked about him potentially being flipped from Auburn a while ago. That's really died off. There's not really anything new there. But what I'm trying to explain to you is when Todd Bates was at Clemson, he did this very well, and he did it very often. Getting in recruitments that he necessarily wasn't in for a long time, or, he was in a recruitment for a long time, but there wasn't really anything being said about that said recruitment. I would watch Malik Autry as he is on flip watch with somebody. If Todd Bates decides that he wants to really push for him and go all in, that's a 5-star defensive lineman that has had interest with Oklahoma before. So nothing concrete there yet. Just me kind of speculating, seeing what's going on out there with the former Oklahoma prospect that we were going after. That's one that I would potentially keep my eyes on as someone that Todd Bates could pursue. Now, Oklahoma did get an announcement from Chad Simmons over at On3 that they're going to be getting a visit from Brandon Arrington out of Spring Valley, California. He's a 5-star athlete, 6'2", 180 pounds, got a total of 26 offers. And again, you ask, okay, well, what makes him so elite? 2026 guy. Like, we got to start focusing on the 2026 class too, because Oklahoma's wrapping up 25. So some of these position coaches are starting to look at these 2026 kids, really trying to establish those relationships, getting them on campus, and really trying to start narrowing down who they really want to go after. But he's got offers from Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, Penn State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, USC, Washington. Like, he's got big time offers in that 26 offer list. So this is one that I would definitely keep your eyes on if you're an Oklahoma fan trying to gauge and see how it goes. He's been to San Diego State a couple times. Same thing for USC. He's really going to start visiting the landscape, seeing what's out there. And then you've also got Xavier Griffin, who was just offered by Oklahoma, a 6'4", 210-pound an edge rusher, outside linebacker, out of the state of Georgia. Now, again, state of Georgia, not a place we've had a lot of success yet, but a guy that has 32 total offers. This is somebody that Miguel Chavis would definitely want in this class. So I'm going to keep my eyes on Xavier Griffin, and we'll make a video when we get a chance to catch up with him about the offer as well. So as always, make sure you guys join the discussion. Jump in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think about the 2025 class for Oklahoma and if you think it's going to be a top 5 class.